And Bill DeWeese here, high-performance voiceover talent and business coach with more information to help you build your voiceover business. And the question today is this: what do you do once you have maxed out your capacity to produce? Once you are getting in more work than you can actually record? And you may be laughing and say, wait a second, what are you talking about, Bill? I mean, I'm trying to get just 1 to 2 jobs consistently a day. What do you mean maxing out my schedule? Well, let me back up just a second. If you have gotten the proper training, if you've received the proper training and instruction and guidance, if you've recorded a killer voiceover demo, if you have a good solid website up, and if you are following my voiceover playbook, which is my marketing plan, my roadmap for building a 6-figure voiceover business, then you will at some point max out your capacity to produce in your voiceover business. Because even though you may have an assistant, which I do, who works full time, even with that, I get more work, or I have opportunities for more work. I've maxed out my capacity and can only do so much because they're hiring me just as they're hiring you for your voice. So you can't exactly farm that out. So if you're doing all the right things, at some point you will max out your capacity. So what do you do? Well, I think it's also important for you, by the way, if you have not reached that point, to visualize yourself, to see yourself as a person who is a full-time voice talent, who has, or at least has the capability of maxing out your schedule, because you will not grow your business to that level until you begin to see yourself and believe in yourself as that kind of voiceover talent. Okay, so now you've maxed out your capacity. What do you do? Well, a couple of things I suggest that you do. First of all, consider raising your rates. I mean, it's simple economics, supply and demand. And when demand is greater than supply, then typically what you do is you raise your rates. Now, also, with that being said, keep in mind that voiceover talent, for the most part, are seen as a commodity. It's not, when I say seen as a commodity, one is easily exchanged for another. Now, it shouldn't always be that way. If you're delivering superior service and you're treating your clients right, then it's more simply than a matter of cost. So certainly you want to raise the value, the perceived value of yourself to your clients based on the service and the product that you deliver to them. However, that being said, there are so many voiceover talent, good voiceover talent, so that you need to make sure that you stay at least within the ballpark of what the market is demanding. But you should occasionally, especially once you've maxed out your schedule, raise your rates and begin to look at some of your lower paying clients and renegotiate some better rates. So that's number one. Number two, consider dropping what I would refer to as your low-end clients. Now, low-end does not necessarily just mean what they are paying. And certainly, clients that are providing for you the bulk of your income, you should seriously consider holding on to them. But there's more to the equation than just money. And that's certainly the first thing I look at. Who am I getting the most money from and the best rates from? But another thing is this: how easy are they to work with? How much grief and heartache do they cause me? Or how simple is it for me to work with them? Do I like them or not? And believe me, liking somebody and being easy to work with goes a long way with me. I have clients, some of my best clients I've had for a while, and they're several of them are paying at a lower level than other clients. And the reason for that is, number one, they are very easy to get along with. I like them, and they're easy to work with. They don't over-demand. They're not asking me to redo and do pickups constantly. And it's easy, fast work. They send it to me. It's what we call, rip and read. You rip it, you read it, you send it back. Boom, it's done, and you've made a few bucks. So clients like that I like. But you have to decide what's important to you. So figure in rates, how easy are they to work with, how much time and grief do they cause, if any, and do you like them? So that's something else to consider. Then the other thing to do is this, and that is to cultivate higher-end clients and better-paying jobs. Typically, my experience has been that the higher-end clients are the ones that you will get directly. You'll have to cold call, and again, this is all included in my voiceover playbook, which you can find out more information by emailing me. But you'll have to call them or contact them directly and begin to market to them directly. They're typically video production companies that do higher-end work. And they may be harder to get, and it may be longer, and it does take longer typically to cultivate those kind of clients. But when you've maxed out your schedule, it's time to start bringing in higher-paying clients and to begin to eventually let go of some of the lower-paying, or what I'll call higher maintenance type clients that what you're making from them just isn't worth, again, the time and the grief that you get from them. Another part of that, cultivating higher-end clients, is becoming more competitive and higher-paying jobs. Now, I mentioned before, I've got more than my fair share of agents. And those agents, for the most part, have access to better paying jobs than you will get directly from clients. And if you have agents, you know exactly what I'm talking about. As a matter of fact, we probably compete for a lot of the same jobs. So typically, if it's gone through an agent, it's probably gone through a lot of agents, which means that many of the best voiceover talent in America are auditioning for the same job. Now, your win to audition ratio is going to be lower because, again, you're competing against some of the best talent out there. But then it becomes time to further train and further work toward being a better performer, bettering your audition so that you can begin to get higher paying jobs. Again, typically through agents. If not, at least make sure you're marketing directly to video production companies for the higher end jobs. And again, when you've maxed out your schedule, it's time to start to consider some of these things and to begin to phase out some of the old and begin to phase in some of the new so that you can continue to increase your income, but yet not stress out because you're working or taking on more work than you can really physically or mentally or emotionally handle. I hope these tips are helpful to you. I'd love to hear from you if you have thoughts, suggestions, something you'd like to see on a future video, or again, if you want to find out more about my VoiceOver Playbook program, simply drop me an email at voiceoverexpert@gmail.com, voiceoverexpert@gmail.com. Hey, all the best to you in your voiceover business, and I'll talk to you soon.